What's going on, guys? It's J-Ho back with more Destiny 2, and in this video I'm going to go over how to get Pinnacle Gear updated for episode Revenant. So before we get into all the Pinnacle sources, I'm going to give a brief explanation on Pinnacle Gear and leveling in case you're a newer player to the game or you just want a refresher on how it all works. So if you don't need the explanation and you know how it all works, there should be timestamps down below and you can skip ahead to all the Pinnacle sources. But anyways, Pinnacle Gear is what you need to obtain the highest level possible within any given season or episode in Destiny 2. So currently in episode Revenant, Bungie increased the Pinnacle cap by 10 more points since the final shape. So now the current Pinnacle cap is at 2010. So that means all your weapons, all your armor, the max level you can have it at is at 2010. So keep in mind this is separate from the artifact bonus levels that you get for just getting XP by playing the game. And this is exclusively your gear score, so your weapons and your armor. Those can only hit a maximum of 2010 in the current episode. So in order to hit the Pinnacle cap, you first have to hit the previous cap. So there's a soft cap and then there's a powerful cap. Once you hit the soft cap, all you can do to level up after that is earn powerful gear. And then once you hit the powerful cap, the only thing that will level you up after that is Pinnacle Gear. So now I believe the new powerful cap is 2000 since they increased them all. And so once you hit a gear score of 2000, again, this is all your armor and your weapons. Once that all hits 2000, then the only thing that will level you up past that is Pinnacle Gear. So that's pretty much why Pinnacle Gear is important, because you need it to get to the max level in the current episode or season. So you can earn Pinnacle Gear from a lot of activities throughout the game. Most of them are endgame related and all of them should drop +2 from your overall power. And then one last thing before we get into it, I will leave a list down in the description below. You can use it as like a checklist if you want, but it will be a list of all the Pinnacle sources currently available in the current episode. And in case other Pinnacle activities get added in the future or later on in the episode, or maybe I missed something, I usually try to update the list as well, so I try to keep it updated even if it doesn't appear in the video and you're watching this later on. So keep that in mind. But starting off with the first Pinnacle source, we have probably the easiest one still. This is the vendor challenge from Hawthorne. And this one requires you to give out 5 commendations. All you have to do is play activities with people and give out 5 commendations. And I know it's labeled as powerful gear tier 2 on the map, but it has been a visual error for a very long time. If you've seen some of my previous Pinnacle Gear videos, it's been like this for a very long time, probably a few years now. But this one is a Pinnacle drop even though it's labeled as powerful gear in game. And then the next Pinnacle source is from playing Nightfall. So this one requires you to earn 200,000 points total. So this is a cumulative amount of points. You can play at multiple different Nightfalls. And once you earn a total or cumulative score of 200,000 from multiple Nightfalls, then you will get your Pinnacle drop. You can do it in one run if you can get 200k in one run. Obviously, if you're playing on like higher difficulties like GMs, it's probably really easy to get 200k. But if you're playing on like the match made difficulty, the lowest one, it might take you at least like 2 runs or so to get 200k. And then next up we got some Pinnacles from the Ritual Pathfinder. So they did change it a little bit since last episode. So in this episode they split it up, so now there's a separate Pathfinder for Vanguard, Gambit, and Crucible. And they all have their own separate objectives to make your path to the reward. So you can get 3 Pinnacle drops from the Pathfinders. I believe this is 3 across all 3 of the playlists, so 3 total. So you can't do 3 for each one of them, but you can do 3 across any of the ones you want to do. So for example, say you only want to play Strikes and maybe Crucible, you can do 2 from Strikes and then do 1 Pathfinder from Crucible, and that will be your 3 for that week. You can do all 3 in one of them if you only want to play one of these. You can do 1 of each. You can do any combination, but I believe 3 is the max that you can earn within the week. And then one thing I want to note is that depending on when you're watching this video, currently in the first week of the episode, there's a bug right now where some people aren't getting a Pinnacle drop upon completing some of their Pathfinder paths. A lot of people are saying on their 3rd path they're not getting a Pinnacle drop. So I'm not sure if this is affecting everyone, but keep that in mind that some people are experiencing bugs right now with the Pinnacle drops for Pathfinder. So if you're watching this in the future, hopefully it's fixed by now and it should be working for you to do Pinnacles from this. but currently in the first week of the episode it is bugged and a lot of people are experiencing no pinnacles from this. So if you haven't done it yet, maybe hold off until Bungie does fix it. And then moving on, we have a few pinnacle drops from the Pale Heart. So a lot of these came in with the launch of Final Shape. So we still have a pinnacle drop from the Cooperative Focus mission. So this is going to rotate every week between the 3 different missions. And you can get a pinnacle drop as well as an ascendant shard, so that's pretty good as well. Keep in mind for this one though, you do need a fire team because there's special like team-based mechanics on this one. And then next up we got a pinnacle from the Excision activity. So this is the 12-player activity from the end of the Final Shape story. So pretty easy one, another good source for a pinnacle drop. And then of course we have some more pinnacles for Salvation's Edge, still the newest raid that was added into the game. And I know it doesn't say on the actual map that it is a pinnacle source, but it is dropping pinnacle gear. And this one should be a pinnacle drop from each encounter as well. And then next up we got some new pinnacles added with the new season. So the first one is from Onslaught Salvation. So this is the newest playlist that was added with Revenant. So for this pinnacle you just need to do 50 waves of Onslaught Salvation, and you can do any of the playlists you want to get your 50 waves. So you can do a few runs of the 10 run Onslaught playlist. You can also do the full 51 one time and you'll get the pinnacle from that as well. You can also play it on the higher difficulty as well, but 50 waves and then you'll get a pinnacle drop from this one. And then the other newest pinnacle source is from the latest dungeon that was just added. This is Vesper's Host on Europa. So this one is the newest dungeon, and similar to the raid, because it's the newest dungeon, it should give you a pinnacle on each encounter as well. And so sticking with raids and dungeons, they did make some changes to the rotating raids and dungeons for this episode. So the first change is that they added an extra raid and an extra dungeon in the rotation now, so you don't have to wait as long for some of the raids and dungeons to come back into the rotation. So that's a really good change. And then the other pretty good change is that now it's easier to locate which raids and dungeons are active or the featured ones for that week. So they did add the little icons next to the planets or locations on the map. So now you can see the raid symbol with the skull or the dungeon symbol next to some of the planets or locations. And also you can hover over the locations as well, and it will tell you right on top that the raid or the dungeon for that location is the featured activity for the week. So for example, for this week, starting off with the rotating dungeons, we have the Shattered Throne, and then we also have Duality. And so keep in mind, depending on when you're watching the video, it's going to be a different dungeon, or it could be different dungeons and different raids for the rotating ones. And again, you get these ones for completing the dungeon or raid. This one is not on every encounter like the newest ones. So all you need to do is complete the last encounter and then you can get your pinnacle drop. And then similar to the dungeons, there's going to be 2 featured raids every week as well. And again, completing the final encounter will give you a pinnacle drop. It's not every single encounter. So for example, for this week, it's Last Wish and Valve the Disciple. And so depending on when you're watching it, like I mentioned, it could be 2 different raids, so keep that in mind. Take a look at your map and see which ones are highlighted as the featured raids and dungeons for that week. And then we got one more pinnacle from a rotating playlist. So this one is from the rotating exotic mission. So in the legend section, there's going to be an exotic mission that rotates every week. So this one can give you a pinnacle if you complete 2 runs of it on normal or 1 on the harder difficulty. And one more disclaimer is that the current mission Starcross on week 1 is currently bugged as well. Some people are saying that they're not getting a pinnacle from completing the challenge for it. So keep that in mind. Maybe if you didn't do it yet, hold off on doing this until Bungie mentions that they fixed this one as well. But this one should be a pinnacle if you're watching this down the road, and they did fix it already. So keep that in mind. It's a different mission every week, and this one rotates as well. And then the last few pinnacles are gonna be from some Crucible playlists. So the first one is Trials. So keep this in mind. It's not gonna be active all the time because Trials is only on the weekends. And it's also not going to be available on Iron Banner week, so keep that in mind as well. But whenever Trials is available, there should be 3 pinnacles tied to it. So the first one is from Saint 14's Vendor Challenge. When you get 7 wins, you can get another pinnacle drop. Also, there's a challenge on the actual playlist, and this one requires you to get 50 points from round wins, and match wins gives you an additional point. So completing this will give you a pinnacle drop. And then the other one is going flawless. So from the lighthouse chest, you should get a pinnacle from that as well. So the last few pinnacles are from Iron Banner. So Iron Banner only comes around a few times within a season, or an episode I should say. But when it does come around, you can earn a few pinnacles from it. And they did change it, so now it is 2 weeks at a time now. So the last time it came around in last episode, it did have 8 challenges under the challenges for Iron Banner on the map. So it looks like you can get more pinnacles now since it's around for an extra week every time. So that's about it for this video. Again, if I missed anything or they add stuff later on in the episode, I will update the list. So I try to keep the list as up to date as possible in case there's stuff that I miss or they add stuff in the future. But anyways, that's about it. Once again, thank you guys for watching. As always, stay tuned for more videos, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace!